As a beginning teacher at Sandy Plains State School, moving to a remote community can come with a mixture of excitement and nerves, as we're not only making a career change, but a whole life change. New teachers living in a rural and remote location can be influenced by various complexities. These can include the location and the context of the school community, the individual teacher's experience and background, systemic and political pressures, amongst other influencing factors. In planning for the multi-age classroom at Sandy Plains State School, various considerations and resources are required to be carefully thought about by the classroom teacher. For instance, the Year 4 to 6 multi-age classroom at Sandy Plains State School is assembled with ability ranges from Year 3 to 6, with 2 Indigenous students who have ESL or EAL dialect, and 1 gifted student interested in science and maths but little interest towards English. The following analysis will look at a series of 3 lessons aligned to the Australian curriculum English Literature strand and constructed under the Year 4, 5 and 6 curriculum content being addressed of Year 4. Create literary text by developing storylines, characters and settings. Year 5. Creating literary text using realistic and fantasy settings and characters that draw on the worlds represented in text students have experienced. And Year 6. Experiment with text structures and language features and their effects in creating literary text. In the series of lessons, each lesson is aligned and built on for students at each year level in the multi-age classroom. An evident feature in the content descriptors is the use of text structure and language features to create a literary text. Consequently, this is the focus of the 3 series of lessons, with the overall assessment purpose of students is to write the first chapter of a fantasy novel, creating a good and evil character and established setting. In the multi-age Year 4 to Year 6 classroom at Sandy Plains State School, various structural features were evident within the context and aligned to the APST's graduate standard focus areas of 2.6, 3.4, 4.3, and 7.4. The most evident structural feature is the multi-age lesson arrangement, which is essential to target the learning needs of all students in the classroom. From a theoretical perspective, one of the most compelling reasons for a multi-age classroom resides in the research of social learning constructed by Vygotsky's 1978 zone of proximal development. The zone of proximal development is the difference between what a learner can do without help and what they can't do without teachers' assistance. This framework is imperative in planning a lesson structure in a multi-age classroom, as the activities and tasks can be separated into 3 levels. One activity pertaining with the presence of someone with the knowledge and skills to guide. The second activity, incorporating social interactions that allow the learner to observe and practice their skills. And the third activity, providing scaffolding or supportive activities provided by the teacher or teacher aide that help guide the learner through the zone of proximal development. To certify all students' learning needs were met in the multi-age classroom, the structure of all lessons began with a teacher-initiated learning experience, where explicit learning is taught using the links between the levels of curriculum frameworks to plan a seamless lesson. From there, students progressed to year-level grouping, which was considered through the levels of the zone of proximal development, with students breaking into 3 groups and are envisioned with rotations between tasks of one teacher aide, and independent work. In these rotational activities, students are provided with opportunities to talk about, represent, reflect on, and begin to evaluate aspects of their learning with others, work on activities independently and in a range of groupings, build cooperative learning skills through sharing, turn-taking, listening, and mentoring, and actively drawing on personal experiences or interests. An effective multi-age classroom considers the resources and environment to be an important learning place and tool. In the classroom layout, the constructivist learning theory and social theory should be evident with planning and to place large emphasis on the movement areas, cooperative social interactions and learning experiences, autonomous learning and enjoyment of classroom areas. The teacher carefully planned the classroom environment to facilitate children's learning experiences at their own development level, while increasing opportunities for multi-age learning. In the multi-age classroom at Sandy Plains State School, the classroom was designed to have learning tables and centres rather than individual desks. Stationery was bundled together and placed around the classroom for flexibility. Space supported the whole class teaching, small group teaching, and individual learning. And the classroom environment created an effective workspace as it honoured the classroom learning and provided a safe, articulate work area. An additional structural feature present in the multi-age classroom was the use of ICT resources. The integration of ICT components such as an interactive whiteboard and computers are imperative to students' learning as they innovate, accelerate, enrich, deepen skills, motivate, and engage. At Sandy Plains State School, technology resources in the classroom range from iPads, interactive whiteboards, to laptops, to online programs. In a remote community, using ICT enhances student learning opportunities, overcome barriers of geographical isolation. Therefore, ICT components were integrated into classroom learning where possible. Various pedagogical features are evident in the Year 4 to 6 multi-age classroom context at Sandy Plains State School and align to the APST's graduate standard focus areas of 1.3, 1.4, 4.1, and 7.3. These include the one gifted student who is particularly interested in science and maths but shows little interest in English, 2 Indigenous students who have ESL or EAL dialect, and the overall behaviour of students. The positive behaviour of students is a vital component in a multi-age classroom due to the increase of flexibility and group tasks. The classroom teacher must be skilled in managing instruction to reduce the amount of wasted time where a student is not productively engrossed on task. Additionally, Berry 2004 rationalises that students also have a responsibility in the process of multi-age classroom management. Students need to be taught the value of independence and cooperation. To ensure students are on tasks in the series of lessons, Kine 2005 argues that the teacher must ensure that the time spent away from them is still spent productively. Kine states the 3 important strategies to be effective in this regard are: the first one is peer instruction, in which students act as teachers for each other. The second is cooperative group work involving small groups engaging in collaborative tasks. And the third one is individualized learning programs which the student in self-study. The considerations suggested by Berry 2004 and Kine 2005 were employed within the series of lessons to ensure students were spending the majority of their time on task, rather than listening to instruction from the teacher. For majority of students in class, the multi-age learning environment was very familiar to them, and to have learned about independence and cooperation in previous schooling years. In the rotational activities, students' tasks abided by the 3 important strategies enlisted by Kine, with students providing different ways of introducing the task through flashcards, student leaders, videos, and activity sheets. This allowed for minor disruptions to other rotational activities with a teacher or teacher aid assistants, and were able to retreat back to prior to asking the educators a question. In the series of lessons, text structure and language features were the intended focus. For many students, not only the gifted student, engagement of the content may not be applicable to their interests. Therefore, various considerations were introduced following Stone's 1997 findings of a child-centered approach to learning. Students were provided with flexible tasks that gave them a sense of control. Examples were used from movies such as Harry Potter or Matilda, familiar movies, and activities that sparked curiosity and read aloud their work to other students, leading to motivation. The rotational tasks were still foundational of the curriculum content, but provided an area for students to feel independent with their learning and motivate their interest by providing examples and introducing lessons using examples of movies or books they are familiar to. The additional pedagogical feature Evident in the multi-age classroom was 2 Indigenous students who have ESL or EAL dialect. According to Korf, teaching Indigenous students requires sensitivity for their special needs and knowledge about Aboriginal culture. Various strategies can be implemented in the classroom, such as using storytelling with visual cues in your teaching to support Aboriginal students learn better rather than having them read and process materials directly. Check with them that they are understanding and absorbing the content without them feeling ashamed if they are not, and incorporating more hands-on learning and a variety of practical experience into lessons. These strategies from the Queensland Government Department of Education and Training were taken into consideration into adjusting students' tasks and activities within the rotational learning. Students were provided with opportunities to comprehend characters and settings using visual cues, and both the teacher and teacher aide assisted to check their understanding of the content without them feeling ashamed. This was implemented through the rotational activities with the teacher and teacher aide, and this was implemented through the rotational activities with the teacher and the teacher aide, but additionally questioned at the end of the teacher explicit learning when students were finding their groups, rather than asking in front of the whole class. Dreamtime stories were also expressed by an elder in the first lesson to relate to the cultural context of all Indigenous students in the classroom, providing how the overall assessment can relate to their cultural background. A wide range of strategies allow teachers to work ethically, sensitively, and confidently with the stakeholders in rural and remote settings and align to the APST graduate standard focus areas of 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3. In the multi-age classroom at Sandy Plains State School, the stakeholders include the use of teacher aides, parents, carers, advisory visiting teachers, occupational therapists, and speech language therapists, and various support organisations. An effective use of teacher aid support is vital within the classroom context, as it supports differentiation of learning for students and supports their instructional inclusion. Teacher aides assist in helping with classroom management. They serve as an instructional assistant, assist with classroom administrative tasks, provide extra attention to the students, and are overall very versatile. In the Year 4 to 6 multi-age classroom, the support of the teacher aide was extremely beneficial to the class activities, as the students were able to partake in scaffolded activities provided by the teacher aide to help guide the learner through the zone of proximal development. The teacher aide was able to assist students throughout the activities implemented by the teacher and provide additional support for all students and continued to stay on task. The teacher aides at Sandy Plains State School are vital sources of long-term information about the school, connections to the community, and have a wealth of experience and knowledge about the school. As a beginning teacher in a rural and remote community, the support of the community and parents are some of the many vital elements for creating a strong and authentic partnership. The community and parental support enhance the learning and opportunities for students, increase the professional networks and the personal experiences in Sandy Plains. Parents make a difference. In fact, they make the greatest contribution to their child's education at home. At Sandy Plains, parents and guardians appreciate being involved in the school decisions, and therefore various strategies have been implemented within the classroom to create positive parental engagement and develop a partnership. The strategies can be considered within the multi-age classroom and can be introduced from the beginning of the school year. These strategies can include taking some time at the beginning of the school year to tailor a communication strategy that meets the needs of your specific students through creating class newsletters or classroom dojo to incorporate what's been happening in the classroom and events coming up, and ensuring all families will be able to maintain a formal communication with the teacher. Positive parent notes to send home positive stories about individual students' days and the entire class, and parents participating in the creation of lessons and advising of their child's interests and hobbies to link to classroom learning. In the Year 4 to 6 multi-age classroom, the teacher can also draw upon the expertise of an advisory visiting teacher who can help assist with 2 Indigenous boys that have ESL or EAL dialect. They can provide professional development activities to members of schools, communities, assist in making educational adjustments to lesson planning, provide information on and model strategies for teaching and learning, and assist education staff and families to access support networks. Furthermore, additional assistance can be provided by the Queensland Educational Occupational Therapist and Speech Language Therapist on support with the 2 class members with ESL or EAL dialect. To work in a rural and remote community, various positive personal and professional attributes are required from teachers that align to the APST's graduate standard focus areas of 7.1, 7.3, and 7.4. In a rural or remote location, teachers must have a strong sense of resilience to the additional complexities located in a small remote town. Resilience is an extremely important personal and professional attribute, as it describes the ability to bounce back after a setback, challenge, or pressure. Teachers must also demonstrate respect and professionalism in all their interactions with students, colleagues, parents and carers, and the community. Advancing Rural and Remote Education Queensland State School Action Plans look at building positive partnerships with the community and considers various strategies to strengthen community and teacher engagement. Positive personal attributes such as fairness, humour, and kindness should be considered necessary attributes for a teacher. According to Peter Garrett, Federal Minister for Education, was cited as saying, universities need to be sure that the people who are putting up their hand to come in and do teaching have got not only the right qualifications, but also the additional temperament, commitment, enthusiasm, and directed strengths and real desire to do the job. At Sandy Plains State School, abiding by the Code of Conduct is imperative to new teachers, as it includes the importance of conducting yourself in a professional manner. School representatives are easily identifiable in a small community. In the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, teachers must partake in professional engagement through APST 7.1, understand and apply the key principles described in codes of ethics and conduct for the teaching profession, APST 7.3, understand strategies for working effectively, sensitively, and confidentially with parents and carers, and APST 7.4, understanding the role of external professionals and community representatives in broadening teachers' professional knowledge and practice. As a beginning teacher at Sandy Plains State School, moving to a remote community can come with a mixture of excitement and nerves, as we're not only making a career change but a whole life change. These intricacies, as presented, occur all before the teacher walks through the classroom door, and additional factors of a multi-age classroom include the structural features, pedagogical features, relationships with stakeholders, and understanding the personal and professional attributes of themselves as teachers. However, by understanding these intricacies, the classroom environment and student learning can excel, and teachers can have an extremely positive relationship with their class and the community in a remote setting.